Good evening. Thank you for coming out tonight. Before we get started, I have to say that I'm grinning from ear to ear because it's a tremendous honor for me to be standing on this stage and honoring such outstanding students. If I could turn the clock back to my high school experience, I'd want to be sitting in one of these chairs. So I am living vicariously through your experience. So you hear a lot of congratulations tonight, but and you'll continue to hear that. So I'm very humbled to be doing a short part in tonight's presentation. So tonight's board meeting begins our annual recognition of the district's National Merit Scholars. I'd like to welcome this year's honorees and family members who are here tonight, parents, grandparents, guardians, aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, friends, and all of those who have come to play a major role in supporting these outstanding students on the stage today. There are a few school systems in America that can boast a record of student achievement comparable to ours. Most school districts would consider 4 or 5 national merit honorees as a tremendous success. Tonight I am proud to remind our community that once again, Lower Merion is not most school districts. Ladies and gentlemen, a remarkable total of 65 Lower Merion School District seniors have earned recognition through the 2015 National Merit Scholarship Competition. Absolutely. The list includes 18 National Merit semifinalists, 47 commended students, and 1 National Achievement Scholar. This is one of the largest groups of National Merit honorees on the East Coast. These talented students were identified through exceptional academic achievement and high scores on the PSAT, which they took as juniors last year. This year's class includes one of the largest groups of commended students in district history. 8 students earned a perfect score on at least one section of the PSAT test. Congratulations, good job. Approximately 1.5 million juniors in over 21,000 high schools entered this year's National Merit Program by taking the 2013 PSATs. Fewer than 16,000 students, less than 1%, of all U.S. high school students achieve status of National Merit semifinalists. Commended students among the top 5% of all entrants. Those deemed scholars must achieve a GPA of 3.5 or higher. The National Achievement Program recognizes the outstanding performance of top Black Americans participating in the qualifying test. Of the more than 16,000 students who enter the National Achievement Program each year, over 4,700 are honored. Nearly 1,600 have an opportunity to advance in the competition for National Achievement Scholarship. Based on your achievements, you have all qualified for recognition among an elite group of students in our country. On behalf of the entire Stool community, I want to thank you and salute you for your hard work, dedication, and commitment to success. You make all of us very proud. At this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Scott Everslog, the principal of Harriton High School, to introduce individual National Merit honorees from Harriton. Students, please come up to the front when your name is called to receive an award certificate from Board President Melissa Gilbert. Mr. Everslog?
Good evening, everyone. Congratulations, students. Thank you, parents and families, for joining us this evening. I'd like to welcome you tonight and thank you for joining us. This is quite a remarkable accomplishment of academic success. We applaud your success and admire your dedication to academic excellence. As National Merit Scholars, you should be extremely proud of the designation as it shows that you have exceptional academic potential. I am sure you realize that achievements such as this are made possible through the support and efforts of many people, although the final effort and achievement are indeed all yours. It would be of good character for you to thank your parents, teachers, and others who have helped you to be prepared to perform so well. We all take great pride in your achievement and are very proud of you. Again, please accept my congratulations and good wishes. This time of the year, as you know, seniors is a difficult, and you family members know is a difficult time for seniors as we're going through the college process, and the stress level is a little bit higher than usual. And it's a wonderful reminder of how tremendously balanced these young people have maintained their lives and managed and achieved such academic success with so many things, so many positive things that they're involved with. It truly is remarkable, and for that, we applaud you. As I call your name, Harrington students, please come forward to receive your certificate. Samantha Davis. Caleb Dixon. Hugh Downs. Alex Dwyer could not be here with us this evening. Samantha Eisner. Madeline Feldman. Tristan Fope. Also not here this evening is Noah Gubernick. Our next student is Raphael Haber. Eden Harris. Benjamin Hewitt. Elena Eisenberg. Perry Levitt. Rebecca Lee couldn't be here with us this evening. Daniel Liu. Julia Marks. Elizabeth Morgan. Danielle Akrock. Daniel Olivieri. Scott Panassi could not be here this evening. Sangbang Park. Maximilian Raphael. Lily Rosen. Seth Schaefer could not be here with us this evening. Rebecca Shapiro. Jamie Song. Joey Touchstone. Julia Eudicious. Anna Walker. Samuel Wheeler. Andrew Warnicott. And Nathan Yee. Congratulations to all students. And now Mr. Hughes is going to introduce our Lower Merion winners. Nathan. Sorry, buddy.
Good job. Congratulations. Dr. Marseille and Mr. Evazog so elegantly commented on being very proud of your accomplishments and what you've done, and I'd like to reiterate the same thing. For, I guess, 7 years I've been coming and doing this, and each year I still feel like it's the first. It's an excitement to feel that maybe I had like just a little tiny part of something to do with this, which I didn't, but it just makes me feel a tiny bit good. Because these are the things you want to see. And they also mentioned something about, Mr. Evazog mentioned about character, and I know the LM kids know I talk about it a lot. And it's important to think, once you're done here, whether your parents take you out to eat, whether they offer to take me out to eat, I'd like to go. But I want you to thank them. I want you to be humble, continue to be a leader, but most important, thank everyone that's been helping you through the process. Be proud of what you've done yourself, but never forget that part. That's being the humble part. So make sure you do that when you leave here tonight. It's the only thing I'm going to ask, all right? And then go home and do your homework. So as I call your name, please come on up and receive your certificate. Julia Carsons. Divya Arya, who cannot be with us tonight. Anya Dougherty. Henry Gao. Joshua Gerstein. Dan Hoykerot. Jeffrey Kao, who could not be with us tonight. Maria Mutz, who could also not be with us tonight. Matthew Schwartz. Oh, here. Just seeing if you guys are awake. Jordan Askey. Eli Baggio. Kira Kale. Abigail Comer. Julia Diamond, who could not be with us tonight. Ailish Dougherty. Joel Dunoff. Anna Finch. Elizabeth Gardner. Thomas Gao. Adina Harris. Charlie Johnson, who cannot be here tonight. Kira Kwok. Emily Mannon. Daniel Matthews. Kimberlyn McClendon. Emily Morris. Nathan Navarro. Sarah Raisin. Nikhil Rajagopal. Liam Rossman. Isaiah Smoller. Colin Valorin. Yeah. Sean Wilson Leslie. Take pictures. Out there. All right, we thank you very much. At this time, it's going to be picture time. So we're going to, is it go out the lobby or want to do on stage? Okay. Doug, let's go on the lobby. Okay, here we go. Your first task with your certificates. All right, we're going to exit down that side of the stage. We're going to go right out in the lobby. Parents, please join us, and we're going to line the kids up out there for some photos for both the school district, and then of course you can take your own and you can take your own photos at that time. So one more round of applause, please, for all of our scholarship members. Okay, kids, here we go. Down that way and out into the back so we have a larger area to take a photograph. Follow Mr. Young. Parents, after the students exit out the back area into the lobby to take pictures, please feel free to go back there too, and we'll try to hold them as long as we can to take as many photographs as you possibly would like.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our regular business meeting. Now that we've had a chance to celebrate the National Merit Scholars, we're going to move to our regular agenda. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Marseille.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone in the audience. I wanted to start by introducing one of our finest, Ms. Ann Heffron from Marion Elementary, the principal. And part of this evening is really an opportunity, and we do this throughout the year, to provide administrators an opportunity to really celebrate the strengths of their building and all that makes Marion a wonderful place to be. So at this time, I know Ms. Heffron has some information she'd like to share with you, and I know she's brought some individuals who want to speak to the Marion experience.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Marseille. Dr. Marseille and members of the board, I appreciate your allowing me to provide you with a snapshot of life at Marion. I know that when it comes to talking about our schools, that all of my colleagues would be able to talk up a storm about all the things that make all of our schools in Lower Marion so great, so we really appreciate the opportunity. When I raised the idea with the Marion staff of how we could share a few highlights with you, they came up with several great ideas. And the staff and I felt that it was important for you to hear voices other than ours. And so tonight, I have 3 former students who will give you a brief overview of what made their Marion experience special. And while I would have loved to have invited a first grader tonight, I think it might be a little past their bedtime. Emma and Brian Unger and Gabby Richardson are all Marion alums who graciously and enthusiastically accepted our invitation to share their perspectives about their Marion experience. Emma is a junior at Lower Merion High School, and Brian is an 8th grader at Ballackinwood Middle School. Following Emma and Brian, Gabby Richardson, who is now a senior at Lower Merion, will also reflect on her Merion experience. Gabby has 2 younger sisters who are currently Merion students, and they're here with us in the audience tonight as well. In addition, Jen Heller, who is a Merion parent, who has 1 daughter in 4th grade at Merion and a daughter at Ballackinwood, will give you a flavor of the parent perspective from a Merion story in terms of how parents view Merion. So can I ask Emma and Brian to come up, please?
I'm Brian.
And I'm Emma, his older sister, even though I'm shorter.
Marion was special because there everyone had a good sense of community. Like, everyone would know who everyone is. Like, you could walk down the hall and you'd see someone and you'd know who they are. And even if you didn't know someone and you were put in a group with them to work, you would make an attempt to know everyone or get to know them. And like, even at BC, you can see who everyone who went to Marion are, because they all have this sense of unity and community. It was also really accepting, because everyone did something different, and everybody, not only did they accept that they did something different, but they'd also take interest in other people's variety of interests. And one of my favorite memories was at recess, my friends and I, because we were really into the Percy Jackson books, we played our own little version of that. And it might have been considered weird, but at Marion, nobody really cared, because everyone did their own thing, and everyone just accepted that people were going to do something different, and they were just going to accept it. It also made me more willing to try new things, because I know that trying new things is going to get me somewhere. And because there are so many different things at Marion, everything just works together.
Like my brother, I also felt that strong sense of unity at Marion. I remember my very first day of school. In 1st grade, I was new to the district, and I got to the blacktop, and immediately a teacher came up to me and introduced herself and introduced me to these 2 girls who, even though I'd never met them before, acted as if we'd been best friends for years. And you could see that all over Marion. Like, you could know someone since kindergarten, or it could be the new kid who you met yesterday, and everyone has this great sense of friendship. And besides the kids, the teachers have this like great caring nature for all their students. Like, every teacher acts like it appears that every teacher knows every student in the school. Like, you'll be walking down the hallway, and a teacher you've never had and only seen in the hallway will say hi to you, and it's very personal. And some teachers that you have had, they'll ask you about your interests, so that you know that they actually were paying attention to the things you liked when you had them. Also, the lesson plans the teachers had were really fun. Like, in 3rd grade, we were learning about rocks. So our teacher got these cardboard moving boxes and made a cave. And we were allowed to sit in the cave during silent reading, but only if we were wearing our plastic hard hats. So Marion taught me the value of friendship, and like basically to be open to everyone, because everyone is unique in their own way, and you may never know if you just sit there next to them being quiet. And that in 8th grade, I sat next to this kid in English who was silent, painfully shy, and I decided that I was going to be friends with him. He turned out to be the most interesting person, and we're still really great friends. So, basically, you can see that everyone at Marion has loved their time at Marion. You can see it when the parents go to all the performances, the middle schoolers and high schoolers who went to Marion go back to the Marion Fair. Marion is just a wonderful place to be. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle Richardson. As Ms. Heffron said, I'm a senior here at Lower Merion High School. And even though it's 7 years later, I attended Marion Elementary, and I remember 3rd grade was my first day. I went from St. Margaret's in Narberth to Marion with about 3 of my other friends. The first day of Marion Elementary, I walked in, we're still filling out paperwork, we're in the front office, they're giving the morning announcements, and there's students who are saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the entire class over the loudspeakers. So immediately, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so nervous, don't know what to do. And I remember that Miss Lawson, a 5th grade teacher, came out of the, I guess where the teachers have their, they get their mail and everything. She comes out and she's like, hi, what's your name? And I tell her my name is Gabrielle. And from that point on, she would sing a song that had my name in it. And even though I was only in 3rd grade, I knew who Miss Lawson was. And I tell that story to say that Marion, it's a perfect snapshot of what Marion is. It's a place of community. It's a place of friendship. It's a place where everyone is welcomed. And I remember that Miss Lawson, just with that small gesture, was able to ease my anxiety for the day. And as a 3rd grader, I had a lot of it. I really, really did. And I'm so enthused that my sisters are now there and they're partaking in what I had such a great experience in. I remember 5th grade, Mr. Morton. I was a student who wanted perfection. That's the kind of student I was at that age, and nothing else could do. And I remember we had this assignment where we had to write some absurd story about whatever we wanted. I wrote an entire 3-page story, and then I walked in, I started reading it and hated it. So I ripped the entire thing off in front of him, and we sat down during recess, and he sat with me, and we worked on it. And Marion taught me patience. It taught me determination. It taught me how to embrace my uniqueness, but how to also carry others with that. It taught me how to be patient and how to work with others. And I don't know where I would be today without Marion Elementary. And I'm so glad that my sisters are now there and that they'll be able to walk in the same footsteps that I did, because Marion really did lay my foundation for where I am today.
I don't know how I can top that. That really is just tremendous. So I'm Jennifer Heller. I am the mother of 2 Marion girls. As Ms. Heffron said, one's in 4th grade and one graduated 2 years ago, is now at BC. Really appreciate the opportunity. I will only take my couple of minutes, but I could really be here all night talking about how really special Marion is. In my short time, I'd want to just focus on first the teachers and the staff, and then just take a moment to talk about the culture and the community. First and foremost, the teachers and the staff are just wonderful. They are intelligent, they are dedicated, they are hardworking, they are excellent communicators to both the students and with the parents. I'm in a household with 2 full-time working parents, and I've always found the teachers to be very flexible and accessible, which means a tremendous amount. We've had great experiences with both the seasoned teachers who have been there for many, many years, as well as really terrific experiences with some of the newest teachers in just their first and second years. Of Ms. Heffron's many skills, of which they are countless, really I think that one of her best ones is that she has a terrific ability to hire bright, enthusiastic, and engaging teachers who the children just adore. Of course, the teachers emphasize academic development. We obviously are in a tremendous school district that, emphasizes that. But in my experience, and frankly, in my opinion, I think the teachers spend an equal amount of time focusing on the, social and emotional, and I'd say even ethical development of our children. The kids are taught about respect and cooperation, and you can just hear it in how they talk to each other. There's discussions about doing what's right. They're also taught independence and organization, which frankly for my older daughter was really important, and she left elementary school feeling really prepared for middle school. All of those adjectives really go into what I think makes the culture here. You heard it from some of the kids. It's clearly nurturing, supportive, respectful, but I think just as important, it's also really fun and happy and creative. And I think maybe we've just been lucky, but our kids have always been excited to go out and go to school. And I think in today's stressful world, I think Marion's a place that is not overly competitive, which I think is really important. You heard from the kids, they all spoke about this sense of community. I think that if I really had to focus on one aspect, I think that there is a very strong, tight, rich community that is evident throughout the school. I think there's a terrific partnership between the school, the HSA, the parents. I think you find that there is tremendous parent involvement, which is welcomed by the school, which is just so important. I think there's certain programs there that really embody the community. I don't know if how familiar you are, but Marion has a terrific program called the School Families, which have been very important, I know, to my two girls, and they talk about it, and it's just great because it lasts for the whole length of their time there, as well as some of the other programs. We have a terrific international night that's going to come up on Thursday, which everyone's excited about. But I won't go on and on. It's just a terrific place. I guess I have been at Marion myself for 7 years, and I'm just so happy I have 2 more to go.
So now you know I feel very blessed to be in the school community that I'm in. It's a wonderful school community. Our children are amazing, and I feel like we learn things from them and about them every single day. Our parents are supportive and eager to help in any way they can, and we could not do all that we do were it not for our parent involvement and dedication. And I also feel very fortunate to work with an incredibly talented and supportive staff who love their jobs and the children and families with whom they work. And each year at Back to School Night, our Marion families know this, that I will always share some words of advice from our first graders. And so this evening, I felt it would be important to share with you the perspectives from our younger set, who hopefully are being tucked into bed right now. When asked the question, what's important about Marion that you would want people to know, here's how they responded. We work hard and have fun. The school has really good rules to make you smart and comfortable. We are all friends. We are all here together to be nice to one another. We are safe. We are getting ready for Halloween. That's really important. There is a 100th day of school. It is a no place for hate school. There are smart teachers here. We are a school family. So 6-year-olds who have been in school for 2 months can articulate what is important for people to know about their school, and I think that's pretty remarkable. I feel that the family and community spirit that is alive at Marion was evident at our opening of school picnic, where 11 Marion dads dumped ice buckets on 11 Marion staff members to raise awareness and money for ALS. Our school community feeling will be alive again on Thursday night with our annual Cultural Heritage Night, when families will fill the halls, learning about one another's cultures and family traditions. And many of you know, as Jen had mentioned, about our school family groups, whereby students in grades 1 through 5 are matched with a Marion staff member and meet on a monthly basis to complete community service activities, participate in fun learning, and establish relationships with children from other grade levels. This continues to be a favorite of the children. And while our entire school family was very proud and excited to be recognized as a Blue Ribbon School of Excellence, the thing of which we are most proud are the personal connections, relationships, and spirit of community that have been and continue to be a hallmark of Marion School. I think you will see the following video clip from our recent Breakfast Buddies activity that the children and parents feel the same way. So we have a real 2 minutes.
I love the sense of community in Marion. Gavin, what do you like? Because it's a good school. Nice job.
Because it's fair and there's no hate zone. I like Marion School because we're Mustangs.
For the community. It's an amazing community.
In Marion School, everyone treats each other fairly.
I like Marion School because it's a diverse community.
I like Marion School because it's a great school to learn. I like Marion School because they're really awesome people and we do lots of nice things.
I'm Alelia's dad. She's first grade here, and we love the school. She enjoys everything here, especially math and music. She sings a song all the time. She learned here. That's great. So thank you.
I like Marion School because there are lots of friends. I like Marion School teacher?
Okay, I like Marion Elementary School. Number one, this is really a benefit to me as a parent. It's close to my house. It's a short walk to get my kids to school. And second, our family, we're a very diverse family, and cultural diversity is very important to my family, which they seem so far to emphasize at Marion Elementary. And so we're very appreciative.
I'd like snacks.
That was the Breakfast Buddies. You can tell it was really noisy in the background. So I'd like to thank you for allowing me to speak with you this evening, and I'd like to thank the Board of Directors for all the work they do to support all of our schools. And Dr. Marseille, thank you for having me tonight. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Heffron, for bringing these students and families here. That was really great. We don't often get an opportunity. Yes, absolutely. And congratulations, on the Blue Ribbon achievement. But obviously, this is all a testament to your leadership, and we really, really deeply appreciate it. And we're thrilled with what's going on at Marion Elementary School. So thank you all for coming and letting us know about it.
Thank you. Before we get started with our presentation, I wanted to first recognize that on October 17th, this last Friday, the district posted its strategic plan on our website. We started this conversation, or started this journey, December of 2013. We've had over 4,000 community members, teachers, faculty, students participate and give their voice to where they see the vision, the path for Lower Merion School District. And we're very happy to have put together a product that we believe speak to those bold statements and the direction we want to go towards. So I have to say that it's been a very arduous process, a very rewarding process. Want to thank the steering committee for their work, but really want to thank the leadership team who I think every Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, and some Sundays that we're here really navigating through the process, trying to put together this document. Ms. Nardowitz, Ms. Schaefer, Mr. Hall, Dr. Martino, Dr. Doria, Mr. Everslog, Ms. Hockfield, Ms. Young, who were really instrumental in giving up a lot of Saturdays and Sundays to trying to put together a document that we believe you will enjoy, and we look forward to your feedback. The documents are posted online for your review. It's 28 days for public comment. We also have placed and you can't miss this, and we try to make it as colorful as possible. You will see this binder at the front desk of all of our buildings, even the administrative building, where you're able to navigate that for those individuals who may want to review a hard copy as opposed to accessing it online. We've also put this in all of our public libraries as well for the community to have an opportunity to give feedback on the document. We tried very hard to make sure that there, for those who needed translation in another language, we provided directions in here to how to best navigate that process, which is our continued commitment to ensure that we have individuals who can access the document in a meaningful way. So I encourage you in the next 27, 28 days to please give us your feedback and your input that we'll be sharing with the board periodically, so that at November 17th, board meeting, we will be reviewing the final version of the document. So I encourage you to go and see that. I want to move to our next conversation, and Pat Ganan is going to talk briefly about some security fencing that the district has been working through. And part of that conversation is really a conversation that starts with our 5-year capital improvement projects. But in addition, in 2013, the School Safety Task Force published a report that provided recommendations for the district in terms of ways to augment into our current security systems. And that included anything from, obviously, the installation of cameras within the periphery of our buildings, within some of our buildings. It also included conversations with a better way of thinking about how we allow individuals into our buildings in a sign-in process. I'm sure everyone has had that had experience. And then there were recommendations with regards to fencing. And some of the fencing was to really allow for the safety of our students to augment our current security that we have. And in the event that there wasn't individuals out there, and I'm sure we can't prevent every scenario from taking place, but we can try to slow down that process. We wanted to give our faculty and our students some lead time if there was an individual who was thinking about coming onto our campus in an unpleasant way. So, Pat, I'm going to ask you to briefly walk through some of the recommendations of the School Safety Task Force and outline some of where those fences are currently or will be taking place.
Thank you, Dr. Marseille. Thank you, Dr. Marseille. As you mentioned, the idea of looking at additional fencing or gates at elementary schools is an outgrowth of one of the recommendations from the School Safety Task Force. One of the threats identified by the task force at the elementary school level was the abduction of a child. And so this specifically addresses the potential for abduction of a child while they're outside at recess. Now, we all know that when students are outside, they are under the supervision of adults. So what the task force recommended was that on a school-by-school basis, we examine whether or not there's an opportunity to add fencing and/or gates that would help those adults who are out there supervising those children to do a better job, to give them more reaction time. So that's exactly what we're doing here. As you mentioned earlier, these were incorporated into our 5-year facility improvement plan, and I'm here tonight with some more of the details. In order to follow up on this, we coordinated with each principal individually and examined their individual situation at the school to try to determine if there were any enhancements that could be provided by fencing or gates. And in 2 cases, we came up with no, there is nothing that we could add to what the school has that would provide enhanced security. And as I said earlier, the whole idea here is to enhance the ability of the adults who are outside supervising to better react to someone who's not a member of the school community from entering the playground. Of course, we have to balance those security needs against the welcoming environment for each school and also what effect those fences, gates may have on the neighborhood and, of course, the cost. So in most cases, our recommendation is, where we're recommending adding fences, is a 4-foot-high vinyl-coated black chain link fence. This is a good fence that is durable. Some sections would be 5 feet high where we have a gate that would have a panic bar on the inside. Gates and/or fencing would match any existing gates or fencing that are on the property. And the idea is these gates would be locked while school's in session. They would be locked in the morning after school begins. They would be unlocked in the afternoon because we fully understand the community likes to have access to our facilities. In addition, we would post signage that would explain the security procedures and direct visitors to sign in at the main office. This is a photograph on the left of an example of what that 4-foot black vinyl coated chain link fence looks like. On the right, we see a different type of fence that we see at some of our schools like Kinwood Elementary, what we refer to as an estate-type fence. So I'm going to walk through each one of the site plans for the school and tell you what our recommendations are. I'm going to start with Belmont Hills. This is a site plan of Belmont Hills. The school is shown in the diagonal hatching there. The playground area is shown in the reddish area. And proposed fence is shown in green with some gates. The outside of the playground area to the right of the reddish area here is all either neighbors or woods. So we already have an existing fence in that location. So our idea is to add a fence along the Madison Avenue side of the school. We would have one large gate so that our lawnmowers could get in and out, and we would have a smaller gate for personnel to go in and out. And this would enhance the ability of the adults to supervise what's going on the playground. We also have identified a follow-on fence that we would put in later up along the parking lot that's off School Street. Moving on to Kinwood, I think those of you who are familiar with Kinwood understand that its playground is really a shared athletic field with the nearby Bala-Kinwood Middle School. And as the diagram shows here, in blue are shown many existing fences. And so what we've decided there is the best thing we could do is to add some gates. And those gates are shown with the reddish ovals. And so on the left side of the drawing, there would be a gate at the bottom of the steps that go up to the recently refurbished promenade area behind the school. And on the right-hand side would be a gate right off of the sidewalk that runs along Bryn Mawr Avenue. And on the other side of the field is the middle school. So we would recommend a gate at the top of the stairs that go up between the middle school and the Lower Merion Academy. Moving on to Gladwin, this is one of the schools we looked at and decided that we didn't need to add any fencing. Now, this is kind of a hybrid look at the school. There is construction that's finishing up right now. The temporary classroom building is still shown here. But shown in blue on the right-hand side is an existing fence. It's a split rail fence that will be in place and will be repaired and restored after the construction is completed. So based on talking to the principal, he felt that that fence was adequate enough given the distance that he is from the street and the ability of his adults to supervise, that there was no additional fencing needed there. Shown on the left side of the school is the small kindergarten area, which of course is already fenced in. Taking a look at Marion, you see Marion fronts on Bowman Avenue, which is on the right-hand side of the diagram. Most of Marion is surrounded by an existing fence. So in coordination with the principal, we identified another small section of fence, shown in green here, that could be added to give additional depth and more time for adults to react to anybody who might be approaching during recess time who should instead go to the main office and check in. Moving on to Penn Valley, again, this is a school where, after coordinating with the principal, we determined that no fencing was needed. There is a fence shown in blue here. It runs along the top of the hill that runs down to Hagees Ford Road. The playground area, again, is shown in reddish color. And you can see that there's quite a bit of distance between the street on Margot Lane and also off of Writers Mill Road. And the principal's opinion was that this gives him enough reaction time for his adult supervisors. Lastly, looking at Penn Wynn. The Penn Wynn playground area is shown here again in the reddish color. It is much closer to the nearby streets. And so we've identified a proposed fence that would run from the existing fence at the playground area along Trent Road, turn the corner along Suffolk, and then come back in along the playground area. The idea for this fence is it would be located well away from the street. It would be inside the tree line, so it would be at least 20 feet away from the curb line. And the idea here again is that it would be a 4-foot vinyl-coated black chain link fence, and it would be locked up during the day, and it would give the supervising adults outside more opportunity to react should somebody try to enter the playground who's not authorized to enter the playground when students are present. This is a rundown of some of the costs we're looking at. These are actual costs from contractors. And as I pointed out at the meeting on Thursday, based on feedback that we're receiving, we've put our plans on hold for right now. We're going to do some additional coordination. That would be with the Lower Merion Township Fire Marshal to make sure that we're operating in accordance with his guidance about gates and which gates should have these panic bars on them. We're also going to coordinate with the police department. And then we're going to do some additional communication. We're going to communicate through the principals with each one of the school communities, and we're going to reach out to the civic associations. And in the communication, we'll be seeking feedback and any kind of suggestions that people might have to help us achieve our objective. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I think you answered mine at the end. So there will be a consultative process to get, you have on the slide notification, but do you really mean hearing and taking into account whatever feedback you hear from those communities?
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pat. What I'd like to do now is to move to audience recognition. This is for agenda items only. So if you have a question or comment about an agenda item, including the fence issue, please come up and sign in with Ms. LaPera. You can please state your name, general location of where you live, and you'll have 3 minutes. So if everybody who wants to comment now could please come up and sign in so we know how many people who would like to speak. We will have an opportunity at the end of the meeting to speak on non-agenda items. So this is really only at this time for agenda items. Just give us 1 second. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Charles Scott. I live on Overbrook Parkway in Penn Wynne, and I'm also the president of the Penn Wynne Civic Association. So in that capacity, let me begin by thanking the administration and particularly Mr. Ganan for reaching out to the Civic Association to alert us about the school district's plans to modify the Penn Wynne property. And let me also thank the school board for committing time in the facilities committee meeting last week, and then also by putting this on the agenda this evening to provide an opportunity for Penn Wynne residents to begin to provide some feedback about the way that these plans are going to impact our community. So I don't know how many people are here tonight, but 3 minutes is really not nearly enough time for me to be able to summarize all of the feedback that we've been getting about people's opinions. So instead of doing that and badly sort of summarizing other people's ideas, let me just give you my perspective as a 12-year resident of Penn Wynne who moved to the neighborhood in order to enroll my son, who's now a junior here, as a kindergartner there. So what I can tell you is that the lack of a sidewalk along Trent Road is a long-standing hazard in our community, and this is particularly true at the beginning and the ending of the school day. If you erect a fence along the back edge of your property, as is shown in Mr. Ganan's figure, you're going to take a bad situation and make it worse. I probably don't need to remind you that school safety doesn't begin at the first bell and end at the last bell. Getting children to and from school is at least as important, safely, is at least as important as ensuring their safety during the day. And in fact, this board has recognized that fact recently. Last summer, you installed a path. The school board paid to put a path along Writers Mill Road as part of the Penn Valley construction project, and I think you should do no less here. In fact, Penn Wynne Elementary has more students and more walkers than Penn Valley does. And so I think this is a great opportunity for this board to demonstrate its commitment to walking in general. You also know that we have 100 more students here this year than you were expecting. And so that either means that you can have 2.5 more buses that you're going to have to find a place to park, and you're going to have to find a community that's going to want to house that parking facility, or you can encourage walking by installing a sidewalk as part of this project. And in so doing, you'll have a community that will stand up and applaud you rather than fight you. So please, partner with us in improving the safety of our community for students and residents alike, and install a sidewalk as part of any project, any changes to the Penn Wynne Elementary School campus. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lauren?
Hi, can you hear me? My name is Lauren Fenning. I'm a Penwyn resident, a mom, and my son goes to Penwyn Elementary School. I love my community, and I love the walkability that my community provides. However, also, to start off, I'd like to thank the board for giving me an opportunity to express my concerns. I'm happy to hear that there's consideration of a sidewalk along with the fence because the traffic on Trent Road is quite bad. Many parents are parking along Trent Road. It's a two-way, both in the morning and the afternoon. And so what ends up happening is humans, families, children, cars, and buses are all on this stretch of road where there's no sidewalk. And especially when it snows, it really becomes quite dangerous. I know that there's a lot of concern about the trees and the beauty of the trees and the health of the trees that are on Trent Road, and those of us who live in Penwyn, we love our trees. Our old growth trees are really beautiful, but the safety of the fence is, to me, in my mind, as equally concerning as a sidewalk. They're both a safety issue in my mind, and a sidewalk is just providing another type of safety. I would also like to ask the board to consider extending that sidewalk down Trent and across Remington Road. And this is because, and you could drive there any morning or afternoon and see, again, there are cars, buses, and families vying for space, and they end up walking on the grass of some nice resident who lives on Suffolk and Trent. We're all walking alongside the grass. And many families cross through Penwyn Valley Park, and they go up to Remington, and there's no crosswalk there. They just cross over, and they walk along that person's grass, and then they cross over to the sidewalk that's along Suffolk. And that's it. So I hope that you'll consider these concerns. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can you see our next speaker?
My name is Leanne Shore. I'm a parent at Penwyn Elementary School. I have two children. We are walkers from Rock Glen Drive and Powder Mill Lane down Haverford Road to Penwyn Elementary. I would like to thank you all for affording me this opportunity to speak, and I think this is a great opportunity to illustrate the need for the fence, which I wholeheartedly agree with. But I think this affords us the opportunity to discuss the safety issues that occur as a walker at Penwyn Elementary, and I know from many others in the district as a whole. If we want to discuss safety in a safety task force, I would welcome any of you on any given day. I'll give you my number. You're more than happy to take a walk with us on our way to school. We are afforded transportation is our sidewalks. Our sidewalks are very narrow. They are poorly maintained. When we have concerns, we are told by transportation to call the police. If we call the police, they tell us there's nothing much we can do. I have personally reached out, along with neighbors, to people that control the sidewalks on our walking route. Occasionally, we do get positive responses. Most of the time, we do not. Therefore, along with the commissioner of my area has said we can walk on the Postman's Walk through the woods, through the park, onto Remington, which, as you know, does not have a sidewalk, does not have a crosswalk, nor a crossing guard. As someone had noted earlier, we do have more students in Penn Valley, and our numbers are going to increase. My neighborhood, there are homes for sale. Everyone who is buying a home has young children. A majority of the children in my neighborhood are under the age of 5. Women cannot be walking with strollers with an older child through a Postman's Walk that's not handicapped accessible, maintained in the fall and winter, through the woods, through mud, to cross into Penwyn Elementary School. Again, thank you for the opportunity, but I think this really highlights the safety concerns of walkers in this district. I enjoy being a walker. I feel that it affords a great sense of community and actually more involvement in the school. Walkers should be considered an asset in this district. We see a lot of the things that go on and a lot of concerns that happen, but it seems that our voices are not really heard whenever we have a concern. I know a lot of people complain that as a walker, we pay as much taxes as the busers, but if we have a concern or an issue, it's not addressed. I don't know if it was brought up with the safety task force, if there is someone that can be a liaison to communicate with the walkers to address their issues and concerns of safety. Again, like I said, if anyone would like my number, you guys can walk with me to and from school on our various walks to kind of get a feeling for what it's like to be a walker in the district. And if you would like any insight on safety issues, we've almost been hit several times on Haverford due to traffic issues. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Sachs?
Mr. Sachs was my father. I'm Stephen. Folks, how are you this evening? My name's Steve Sachs. I live at 282 Trent Road, directly across the street from Penguin Elementary School, and I love where I live. I love the way it looks. I love the openness of not only my house, but the neighborhood, where there is limited fencing, and it's a very park-like feel, as far as I'm concerned. I think other neighbors feel the same way too. Did I hear, a couple questions, did I hear that this is on temporary hold while they're speaking with the fire department? Did I hear that? Anybody?
Yes, there's further conversation that have to happen with a number of individuals within the community.
And will that be resolved by 11/17? Yeah, the next meeting?
I don't believe it will be resolved by then.
Okay. So we're time frame, we're very close here. Question for you also, everybody's brought up the sidewalks. I realize that's perhaps a separate issue, but have the safety commission given any consideration to sidewalk along Trent Road?
That was not part of the school safety task force report.
Have they addressed it at all, thought about it, done any research about it?
That was not part of the analysis. Their community members came in and identified what were the key areas around safety that they wanted to prioritize their conversation with. They came in with a myriad of topics they wanted to discuss, and that was not one of the items that made that list.
I see. Are you aware that there are many students and the parents associated with them that do access the community from the Trent Road side of the school? It's used for overflow parking when there's back to school nights or school picnics. Thank you, I can see that. Do I also understand that at Gladwin Elementary, a wood post fence is just fine because given the distance from the street to the school? Are we talking about the same amount of distance that we have from from Trent Road to the school as well? And I think a posted fence might be very nice as opposed to a black chain link fence, a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So I would like that to be looked at. Have you given any thought and consideration what's going to happen to the flow of traffic and the flow of people? I'm sorry, I know it's 1 minute. The flow of people and traffic that are now you're going to reroute a community with a fence along Trent Road there. And I don't think anybody's really taken that deep a look at it other than, yeah, it'll increase safety. I don't think there's ever been an incident of a student, thank you, a student being tried to be snatched from there.
Sir, thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll see you guys on the 17th.
We look forward to it.
And just for the record, I prefer not to have a fence on Trent Road. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McGowan?
Thank you for taking the time out. I'm Craig McGowan. I live right across from the school, from the Trent Road side of it. My two daughters went to Penguin, and they're now in high school here. We love the school district. All my kids went through here, the ones who graduated from college, and some still in there. But as far as the fence goes, and whether or not it's going to be aesthetically pleasing, it sounds like at least it'll be far back and behind the tree line there at least. But at the same concern that some of the other residents have said is that we do have a lot of walkers there. And a lot of the people coming to the school to pick up their kids, they'll park on Trent Road. And then they walk across the field to go to the school to pick up their kids. So with the fence there, and it's going to be locked, and you're going to have the gates locked, they're not going to be able to go across the field to the school. They're going to have to go to either side on the street. And there is no sidewalk there for them to get there. And most of the time, when the weather's nice during the summer, during the fall and the spring, and when it hasn't been raining too much, they'll walk along the edge of the roadway there in the grass because it's not muddy. But in the winter, and when it's really muddy, they're out in the street. And without having a sidewalk there, and now you're putting a fence up there, you're going to have that same case going along, and a lot more people walking, and they're going to be in the street. And for safety reason, now it's the safety of the parents and the kids that are walking to and from the school. So I think that does bring up some of the safety issue in that. Obviously you guys didn't look at that as part of it, but maybe that's something you can consider while you're also considering this. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Mr. Nally?
Hello, thank you for the opportunity to be here and discuss the fencing around Penguin Elementary School. The last two speakers, Steve and Craig, and I are all neighbors. We all live directly across from the Penguin Elementary School. And right now our view is a beautiful field. I understand that safety is of the utmost importance to the children, but from my perspective, and I think some of the perspective of my immediate neighbors in the neighborhood, are two concerns: the walkability of the neighborhood with the lack of a sidewalk there, as people have said, and also the look and feel of a chain link fence. Looking out my front window and seeing a chain link fence, I think that'll kind of give our section of the block a not as pleasing of a feel that we currently enjoy. So I just would hope that you would consider maybe a different type of fence, but I definitely understand the importance of the fence around the playground. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Beal?
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for your service with everything that you do. I have a kindergartner at Penguin Elementary. It's my first child in the school district of a couple, and we're very happy to be in the school district. I live on Trent Road, and we have the ability to take a bus, but we choose to walk. We've never taken the bus, and we love it. And ever since I moved to the neighborhood 4 years ago, to me it was kind of an ironic joke to walk to the park and then stop. It was like Silverstein's where the sidewalk ends, right where the school begins. So I always thought that was funny until this year when I actually have to use it. And with a stroller or anything else, it is very dangerous. And so I guess quickly I want to say I love the trees. I want as many healthy trees in the neighborhood as possible. I also would love the idea of the fence. I love safety. And to me, the biggest issue is the sidewalk. And so I just view this as a great forum to say, that's a big issue. I think it's, to me, bigger than a fence, even though I want the fence, I want the trees, and I want the sidewalk, and I want them all to work together. So I don't know if, I've heard the issues are the trees will be heard, and I don't know if there's a permeable fence, or I just think that there might be a solution that's out there that does all of them, but to me, the biggest thing is the sidewalk. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Meyer?
Hello, thank you very much for letting me speak and all your service. Ben Meyer, and I live about a stone's throw from the Penman Elementary School. If I had the Wi-Fi password, I could probably save $1,000 a month. I'm that close, right there. I have 3 kids that have graduated from Penman Elementary School and 1 kid that's there right now in 3rd grade. One of the reasons we moved there was because there's some terrific parks in a short distance, Manoa Road, Remington Road, and Penwood Elementary School is something we use just about every day, roughly, when the weather's nice, to run around there afterwards, and frequently you can see families and kids congregating in the field, exercising, getting their energy out, elementary school kids, playing Frisbee and so forth, soccer. I think the reason there's so many people from Penwood Elementary School here is because the character of that neighborhood is our neighborhood is a little bit different than the other ones. It's kind of the center of the community. You're kind of almost forced to walk through the field to get to the new security measure, which is always on the west side of the school. When it used to be, you could go to both sides, it was certainly easier, but we probably have roughly 1,000 houses, walkers, I would say, on the sort of southeast side of the school, where it's just natural now to walk through that field in the morning or the evening when they have to leave. I think if safety is safety is a big concern of mine too, and it was brought up in like 2000 when we moved there, was to put a stop sign for the walkers at the intersection of Trent and Drayton. So to me, that would be a bigger issue of safety, would be a little stop sign right there for the walkers. Cars do use Trent Road to bypass some of the stoplights in the morning when they're in a rush, and that would be a suggestion I would have. Thank you. Technology-wise, there are sidewalks that are more permeable. They don't have to necessarily kill trees. I believe they're recycled products that let grass grow through, but then they protect things from becoming muddy. And I certainly wouldn't object, if you put cameras in the trees to identify, a theoretical or an actual person that might want to snatch a child, to identify them in their car. But I think the fence really doesn't fit into the character of the community. And a quick note, as I did help design of unintended consequences, I'll make it very quick, was I was the person that designed the basketball courts over there because I realized the tall ones didn't work for the elementary school kids. I worked with Robert Schultz, who's was very helpful. We went back and forth, many iterations, and worked together. I think it's been very successful, so successful that a lot of people from Philadelphia come up and use it too. So there are, and can be a little noisy at night, I think, for the neighbors. So there are unintended consequences of a safety variety of the walkers especially, and that would be my main concern.
Thank you very much. Patty?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to the School Safety Task Force for their service. I live on Suffolk Lane, right across from the school.
I'm sorry, can you give me your name again? I apologize.
Yes, Patty Elkis. And when I moved into my house 15 years ago, we moved in, of course, knowing that the school was there. We moved in purposefully because we viewed the school as a village green. It was a community gathering space for the whole neighborhood, whether just on weekends for pickup games or 4th of July events. Later on, Alex's Lemonade Stand events are held there, and it's been a tremendous community resource for the whole community. So I wanted to talk about three things, basically the impact of the fence on the community, the sidewalk issue, which I think is the real safety issue. Connected to the sidewalk issue is the impact on the trees, and finally, really looking at what would keep our children safe. And also, by the way, I have two children that went through Penwyn from kindergarten to 5th grade and have since moved on to college and are in high school. So starting with the impact on the community, again, Penwyn has this village green, central green area that's a wonderful gathering place for the whole neighborhood, and putting up a chain link fence around the schoolyard, even with gates, and even if they're open on weekends, is going to have a very negative impact and really probably result in fewer eyes on the street because people are just not going to pay attention to what's going on there. They're going to assume a false security with the fence. The real safety issue, I think, is not having a sidewalk on Trent Road. And if we're really concerned about the safety of our children, that's what's needed, but we need to do it in a way that won't negatively impact the trees. Placing a sidewalk there will compact the roots of the trees, and I am on the Township Shade Tree Commission, so I would ask that any future efforts with the sidewalk are coordinated with the Shade Tree Commission so that we can find a solution that can work, again, for creating the sidewalk without the impact on the trees. And finally, I guess the issue of the safety, which I guess is the reason for the fence and the reason that the committee came up with this idea, I think, again, that it will give a false sense of security. And if we're really concerned about the security of our children, then I think we need to teach them to be aware of predatory behavior. Because it's, just the school hours during recess is not really enough. And I think what would be more effective, and my daughter has gone through this training herself, where she has actually gotten a black belt in something called pink karate that teaches girls how to identify predatory behavior and use their voices first and then certain moves to protect themselves. And of course, boys should learn this too. So if we're worried about predators coming onto the schoolyard, let's not put up a fence that, honestly, someone can climb over a 4-foot fence. Let's teach our children how to identify predatory behavior and use their voice to alert adults to the threat, and that's really the safest way, even after school hours.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Schreiber?
Hi, my name is Ms. Schreiber, and I live at 246 Rock Glen, which is the school that actually looks at the current chain link fence. And I bought the house because I love the field that's right outside of my window and the fact that my 3- and 6-year-old are out there every night, pretty much, just about rain or shine, playing in that field until it's dark. So for me, I almost feel that I would personally love to have a fence there so that when the ball rolls, it stays in, and my kid might not chase it. But looking at the fact that I chose to move there for the community feeling and the fact that so many people are drawn to that field from all sides, I do see how big of an impact that would have. And I do appreciate that I did see some of you out there tonight actually walking around on the field, seeing what it was like and how challenging it would be to, if there was a fence there, how challenging it would be for a mom with a stroller to try to get around the 11 feet between the curb and the trees, the old growth trees, to try to get around to the back entrance of the school. So, as everyone else here has said at this point, I do think that if we're going to, I do appreciate, as I said, that you put the brakes on this to get this, to allow us to have this feedback, but to have a plan for a fence without some ability or planning for how a sidewalk could also fit into it really underestimates how many people are using that field for traffic every day. And I wonder what actually is going to lead the children to be more or less safe, having some of them walking in the street every day, to have that false sense of security of a 4-foot fence that, I mean, if it's to keep the kids in, okay. If it's to keep adults out, it's a 4-foot fence. And I watch people jump that fence that we have right now every day. It's not going to keep anybody out. It is that false sense of security. So if it keeps kids safer, that's fine. If it's with a sidewalk, that's great. But to put in something that actually might make kids less safe, I just want it to be weighed more carefully. Thank you again for so much of your time, and I think that's all I had to say.
Thank you very much.
I really want to thank everyone who came out tonight, and I want to assure you that your voices are heard. One of the things that I enjoyed tremendously when I had the opportunity to take this position was the opportunity to walk around the community more than I've ever done before. One of the things that really surprised me about this community that I didn't take stock of was not just Trent Road or other that location, but the accessibility in terms of sidewalks around this entire community, which really surprised me in a community where it's so inviting and there's so many trees and there are so many wonderful homes and other areas to walk by that I was surprised to see a large number of students. There was National Walk to Your Child to School Month, and I took part of that, and I was really surprised for the first time because it wasn't my lens in my previous positions where I had that opportunity. So I think that with the comments that individuals have made around safety, I think that it goes far beyond just one particular street. And I think that we need to engage in deliberate conversations with our township and our commissioners across the board if we are going to invite walkers, if we're going to invite individuals who are going to ride their bikes, that we think more globally about that process. So I thank you, the administration thanks you for coming out today. You know, I said there was one parent who said this beautifully, even though all of your comments resonated with me. And I think she said that, I love the trees, I love safety, and I'm not sure if everyone feels this way, but I love fences. And the part that stuck with me is that there's a solution out there. So part of this collaboration and the opportunity for you to hear your voices and going back and speaking to a larger audience is an attempt to find that solution and find that fine balance. So on behalf of the administration, we thank you and we continue to work with you, but in addition, a much longer conversation with working our commissioners in our township around sidewalks, period.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Sir, really, if we do this with you, we have to do this with everyone.
Sir, please have a seat.
There's another opportunity for public comment at the end of the meeting.
Sir, if you would like to stay at the end of the meeting, there's another opportunity for public comment, and you are more than welcome to speak to us at that point, or to send us an email with your suggestion, or to wait till the end of the meeting and speak with one of us is fine. But right now, if I allow you to speak at this time, then I have to do that with everyone, and we actually have to get through the business of the meeting as well. So I invite you to stay to the end of the meeting and give us your comments, or you could email us at community comments, and I'm going to forget the email. lmsd.org. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, at this time, I'm going... No, we asked everybody to sign up beforehand. Anybody else who wants to speak can speak at the end of the meeting during audience recognition on any issue, not just issues currently on the agenda. So at this time, what I'd like to do is approve the minutes of the following meetings of the Board of School Directors, which includes the September 22nd regular business board meeting, the October 13th Education Board meeting, as well as accept the following committee meetings: September 24th Legislative, October 7th Curriculum, October 10th Policy, October 16th Facilities and Purchasing. Do I have a motion?
I so move.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Dr. Marseille?
Thank you, Dr. Gilbert. The superintendent recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the attached human resources actions as listed in exhibits HR 1 through HR 6.
Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve? Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ben. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the following overnight field trips requests per exhibits 1 through 13.
Do you have a motion? I'm sorry, do you have any questions? Are there any questions? I know we need to do, I know. I'm sorry, do you have a question? We've skipped over the curriculum committee update. I'll do that next. Oh, you have a question? Okay. Dr.
I had a question on the TSA trip, whether or not it was going to cross over with summer school this year. I noticed the date is very late into the year.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find myself. The trip that is
What
dated
number is
for...
I don't have it open. I guess it's more of a comment that I would
Want to take in consideration?
just take into consideration
Yes, we
that
will.
some kids who do the TSA competition also enroll in summer school classes, and there's sometimes an overlap when the TSA competition is very late.
Sure, we'll make accommodations for that. Thank you.
Okay, do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Dr. Van Lynch, do you want to do your committee update
I'm
now?
sorry, Dr. Van Lynch.
No problem, I missed it
Been a long-
myself. so. Thank you, Dr. Gilbert and Dr. Marseille. The Curriculum Committee met on Tuesday, October 4th at 8:30. And just to remind the public as well as the board, all of our documents for our committee meetings can be found under on the LMSD website under the Board Documents, Board Docs link. The committee was presented with an overview of a number of course proposals by the secondary education team. These proposals, proposed enrollments and related costs will be brought back to the committee in November for committee consideration and board approval. So what was presented was essentially general information around what courses are in the pipeline for consideration. All specific course details, again, can be found on the website. Mr. Arthur Mitchell presented math and science department courses on the following: visual programming, advanced topics in linear algebra and discrete mathematics, and financial math, as well as foundations of engineering and design and computer-aided drafting and design. Visual programming is an introductory computer science course for students new to programming. This course will provide students with a solid basis in understanding programming logic and does not replace any computer science courses, but rather enhances those already in place. The advanced topics in linear algebra course will serve as a senior math elective for students who have completed calculus in their junior year. This course will provide students with additional options beyond the senior seminar. Financial math is designed to help students develop an understanding of the math involved in a wide range of financial transactions using authentic data, assessments, and real-world concepts. And this course is being proposed to enhance practical math electives and to encourage students to pursue additional math credits. The engineering and computer design courses being proposed are to add honors sections. Mr. Mitchell reviewed current enrollments for all courses and potential enrollment implications that will provide implementation costs at the November meeting. Committee questions and requests included cost of professional development for courses that wasn't already embedded, course offering parity at both high schools, which was considered and presented by the secondary team at our committee meeting, the gender gap in higher level math courses, and specific enrollment data to be broken down between both high schools, Lower Merion and Harridan. We had courses presented by Ms. Barbara Giorgio in advanced film photography, both college prep and honors, as well as a course in the literature of sports. Advanced film photography will follow the AP studio art model and extend students' film photography skills. The literature of sports was also proposed as a course that will serve as a full inquiry, research project-oriented course and will use sports topics in American society as its focus. Again, the related costs will be brought back to the committee in November. Our presentation topic at the committee meeting was around our foreign language in the elementary schools program. Ms. Shannon Davis presented the committee with program revisions and updates in the FLES program, particularly since there were some changes made in timing for our 4th and 5th graders and added time to 1st grade based on the recommendations from the elementary scheduling committee. The team is developing specific student learning objectives for FLES to ensure that students are meeting determined levels of language proficiency. Additionally, there are discussions among world language teachers K-12 in the district to ensure that student transitions are addressed and language acquisition expectations are met or exceeded. The Curriculum Committee looks forward to hearing more about the implementation of the SLOs and further success of FLES. And there was one topic we did not cover, which will be brought to our November meeting on the 6th to 12th grade writing program that Ms. Giorgio will present to us in November. Our next meeting is Monday, note the day change, Monday, November 3rd at 8:30 a.m. as schools are closed for Election Day on Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Van Lynch. I'm going to ask Dr. Marseille to take the next contracts C through H. Yes, C through H as one, although he'll take questions on all of them at once unless somebody has an objection and would like to pull one of those out. Is everybody okay with that? Okay, then he's going to read a long list right now, and then I will ask if anyone has questions on any of them.
Should I read each? Okay. That's okay. I thought we were going to go with C through H. These are a series of professional learning opportunities led by consultants on topics around resiliency, literacy, professional learning communities, and leadership. So the administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the letter of agreement with Kagan for professional development regarding cooperative learning for the elementary schools on November 4th, 2014. The consulting fee is $8,500, and a cooperative learning book and binder for each participant, maximum 150 at $34 each, is $5,100. The total cost is $13,600. The administration also recommends the Board of School Directors approves a letter of agreement with Westchester University regarding professional development given by the Pennsylvania Writing Literacy Project regarding grammar instruction at the elementary schools on following days, October 8th, November 12th, December 11th, 2 to 4 p.m. on each day. The cost is $1,000. The administration also recommends that the Board of School Directors approves a contract with Carolyn Gwynn for guided reading professional development for elementary schools on November 4th for the amount of $2,623.99. The administration also recommends the school directors approve the agreement of Dr. Andy Fishman for professional development for elementary staff regarding identifying anchor papers for grades 3 through 5 for scoring fall writing domains on October 14th and October 23rd. The cost is $1,000 per session. The administration recommends the Board of School Directors approves a letter of agreement with Dr. Fishman regarding professional development for elementary school regarding developing teacher-created experience-based informational writing units. The cost is $12,000. I'm sorry, $1,200. Thank you for the correction. The administration recommends that the Board of Directors approves the contract with Dr. Gene Stanley not to exceed the amount of $21,000 for the period of September 1st, 2014 through June 13th for consulting services regarding Strength Finder in relation to the administration of teaching in Lower Merion Schools. I think I have one more. That's next.
I'm wrong.
All right.
I apologize. Okay, with that, are there any questions on any of these?
Could you just explain what anchor papers are for the 3rd through 5th grade?
Sure. Dr. Doria, will you want to speak specifically to the anchor papers and how we've tried to create a system that allows uniformity or common language around when teachers are scoring assignments?
Absolutely. So the rubric that we score writing pieces where you can get a 4, 3, 2, or 1 based on criteria, it's to have a piece to say that this is a 4 paper or a 3 or a 2 or a 1. We sit with groups of teachers and go through and score together and then have some collaborative work to make sure that we say that this is what we're comparing it to. So it's really the creation of our rubric to say that this is a proficient paper or a distinguished paper, basic or below, if that makes sense.
Thank you. Dr. Bainland?
Thank you. Dr. Marseille, could you, I'm referencing letter G, the work with Dr. Jeannie Stanley regarding the...
Dr. Stanley H.
H, I'm sorry.
Sure.
It's G on mine.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
So could you speak to the connection between the work that she's doing on social cultural identity and the umbrella of cultural proficiency and then the work of resilience that's currently underway?
Oh, yeah, sure. Dr. Stanley has been working with the district for some time on social cultural identity and some of the strategies in which teachers can, teachers, administrators, and students can better support each other. So she's participated in numerous professional learning experiences across the district in particular buildings. In addition, the leadership team, made up of 48 members of our administrative team, are currently in the process of engaging in critical conversation around how do you lead from a position of strength? How are ways in which you identify what your strengths are, how do you exemplify those strengths, how do others understand those strengths and better form teams. And I think everything is always, in the last 6 years of our work in this district around social cultural identity and cultural proficiency, is always guided through that lens. So Dr. Stanley brings that lens to all of our conversations, and more specifically, helping administrators think critically about how do you lead and teach from a position of strength, identifying the things that you're really good at and thinking about how do you harness those and become better at that.
Just a quick follow-up. In terms of achievement outcomes, help me make that connection in terms of that professional development work and what that looks like for student achievement.
Well, I think great teachers means great students. And I think when you think about how you develop great teachers, you think about developing administrators as well. So one of the tools that is extremely important with Dr. Stanley's work is how do administrators, principals, assistant principals, supervisors find more meaningful ways in engaging in critical conversation with teachers around their instructional practice? And what are the most effective ways to addressing and navigating those conversations? So I think what you're going to see anecdotally is the idea that teachers who are going to be able to articulate to us that our conversations with our principals and our administrators are very different. The questions that they're asking really probe my thinking. The ways in which they're giving me feedback that relates directly to my classroom has changed. So we're hoping that those are the feedbacks that we get from that.
Great, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve? Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you, Marissa. Sorry, Robin. Thank you, everyone. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the student services items as listed, agreements for students receiving non-district educational services per Exhibit 1 and 2.
Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We're now going to move on to a report of the Facilities and Purchasing Committee. Ms. Robinson?
Thank you, Dr. Gilbert. The Facilities and Purchasing Committee met on October 16th at 8:30 a.m. in the boardroom. We reviewed the list of bills for the month. We received an update as to the type of contracts regularly reviewed by the Facilities and Purchasing Committee, other committee involvement, and document support for the contract, given that we utilize board docs for our document needs now. We received the purchasing report for the month, which included an upgrade to Penn audiovisual equipment in the cafetorium. We previously accepted a gift from the Home and School Association to defray the cost, and we gratefully appreciate their support. We reviewed a covenant related to the stormwater basins at Harriton High School. We briefly reviewed that Hy Schwartz would be representing us in assessment appeals where our solicitor, Whistler Perlstein, has a conflict of interest. We reviewed 3 contracts related to technology utilized by Lower Merion School District. The first was MCIU and Moodle. The second was Pearson and Power School Support and Services, and the last was Presidio related to network security management. We discussed the outside contractor David Robinson's contract to provide photographs, video when available, and story components in his work for the district. Mr. Young reported that he represents a valuable asset to the school and community relations office. We reviewed an amendment to the secure service agreement with Gilbert Architects for the change in scope of a project related to township changes concurrent with the land development phase of their work with Lmsb. We received an update on the enrollment expansion projects at the elementary and middle school levels. Gladwin Elementary is now done with construction, and students began using the classrooms last week. The modulars are expected to be off-site sometime in the next month, and we discussed the field and how best to replace it to its useful state. More will follow on this next month. And we received a report of Mr. Ganan with the Safety Task Force and fencing issues that we just received tonight. The next meeting of the Facilities and Purchasing Committee is November 13th at 8:30 a.m. in the school boardroom.
Under Business Office and Finance, we have 4 recommended action items. I'm going to take them in one motion unless any board member would like me to separate any of them. Seeing there are none, the recommended action items are to approve the financial report for September 2014, receipt of the first quarter student activity reports, approve retaining the legal services of Hy Schwartz for representation in assessment appeal case at a rate of $200 per hour, and declare and authorize the disposal of surplus property.
Thank you for your report, Ms. Robinson. Are there any questions? Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Under Facilities and Operations, we have recommended action as Mrs. Robinson went over. All the items were discussed except for B, which is a sewer easement agreement with 2 parcels, and I believe we did provide information to the board and review that. So I'm going to take them action items all in one motion. The first is to award the bid for replacement of the audio and video equipment at the auditorium at Penwyn Elementary. Approve the sewer easement agreement between Lower Merion School District and the owners of parcel numbers 40-0022044002 and 40-0022040006. Approve the agreement to the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit Technology Information Services Agreement for the Moodle Plus services. Approve the Pearson Support and Service Agreement in the amount of $36,036. Approve the Presidio Master Service and Product Agreement subject to solicitor's review. Approve the independent consultant contract with David Robinson in an amount of $30,000. Approve amendment to the professional services agreement with Gilbert Architects, Inc. Approve the sewer management best management practices, operations and maintenance declaration of covenants, easements, and restrictions at the Harrington High School. And the final one is to approve the change orders for the Gladwin Elementary, Penn Valley Elementary School, and the Walsh Valley Middle School projects.
Are there any questions at this time? I always like to remind everyone when we're voting on Gilbert Architects that it's no relation to me, or I would be. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Okay, we are now moving on to the business of the Board of Directors, and we're going to have a policy committee update by Ms. Pollard.
Thank you, Dr. Gilbert. The Lower Merion School District Policy Committee meeting was held on October the 10th of 2014, and up for a second reading was Policy and Administrative Regulations number 119, which is objections to instructional materials. We were going to have policy and AR number 118, independent study, brought forth for a first reading, but because of further discussion needed with the curriculum committee, this first reading has been moved to our November policy meeting for further discussions. From time to time, administrative regulations undergo changes without the need for a change in policy. Such changes are policy number 249, which is bullying, and also review for safe schools. Also, Administrative Regulation number 121, field trips. Administrative Regulation number 810, student transportation. Administrative Regulation number 438, sabbatical leave, restoration of health, and Administrative Regulation number 428-1, sabbatical leave for professional development. For future discussions, there will be Administrative Regulation number 713, access to school facilities, Administrative Regulation number 112, guidance and counseling services, Policy number 122, student-initiated activities, Policy number 123, student eligibility for participation in extracurricular activities, Policy number 124, co-curricular activities, and Policy number 217, promotion and graduation. The next policy committee meeting will be on Friday, November the 7th, in the administrative boardroom.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pollard. We need to vote on policy 119, controversial issues, objections to instructional materials. Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. At this
Excuse
time...
me, can I get in on
Yeah,
old business?
well, that's what I'm...
Sorry.
You're
Reading your
ahead of me
mind.
here.
Yeah.
Okay. At this time, Mr. Driscoll is going to give us a report of his a summary of meetings with the Board of Commissioners around the issue of bus parking.
Thank you, Dr. Gilbert, and sorry to interrupt you.
That's-
The 3 members of the Board of Commissioners and 3 members of the school board met on Monday, October 6th. This was the 4th time we've had discussions addressing school bus parking. The commissioners mentioned that they are aware of several properties that might be good locations for temporary bus parking. The reason this conversation about temporary parking would allow for some buses and cars to temporarily leave Matson Ford Road facility to make room for construction of the proposed parking deck. This does not mean we're going to build the parking deck. That has not been decided yet, but should we get that far, we would need temporary parking. The commissioner stressed that most of these locations would be available for bus parking for only about a 1-year time frame, which would be commensurate with our construction timeline, should we go forward with that. We also discussed the district's need, for additional permanent parking. If the district approves building a parking deck at Matson Ford Road facility, it will not be large enough to accommodate all of the buses currently parked at Lower Merion High School. In addition, if filled with buses from Lower Merion High School, it will not have room for any additional buses the district may need to purchase in the future to meet our enrollment growth. This means the district is still in need of a more comprehensive permanent bus parking solution. The commissioners did not offer any permanent sites of service, either a complement or replacement of the expansion at Matson Ford Road facility at this time. We also discussed the Rock Hill Road overlay, and its applicability to building a school bus parking lot. During the meeting, there were conflicting opinions, but after the meeting, the township staff indicated the district would probably not get the necessary approvals to build a bus parking lot on Rock Hill Road due to the overlay. We also briefly discussed placing additional buses at Harridan or building a parking deck at Lower Merion High School. Just to be clear, as I've stated before, these meetings are information and informative only. No member may make any binding decision on behalf of his or her respective board. However, we mutually agreed that no new possibilities or scenarios are on the horizon that would require scheduling another meeting at this time. We did agree, however, that if additional information came to light, we would hold another meeting to address it at that time. So unfortunately, that is probably our last meeting in the immediate future. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Driscoll. At this time, I'm going to ask for a report of the Legislative Committee. Dr. O'Leary?
Thank you. The Legislative Committee met on September 24th. We discussed the Pennsylvania School Board Association priorities for this year. The priorities are, number 1, basic education funding formula, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Number 2, charter schools. Number 3, charter schools, special education. And number 4, pension reform. The School Board Association Government Relations Group will be getting back to us
with how we can help support their efforts. The basic education funding formula. The Pennsylvania legislature voted to establish the Basic Education Funding Commission, and they're charged with recommending a new way to distribute state funds to school districts. And the commission will operate, started this June, will operate through next June. It's really important work that will affect every school district. So 35 organizations have united to form the Basic Education Funding Campaign, and their group has spearheaded what they're calling the Circuit Rider Program. And the circuit riders will meet with school superintendents, business managers, administrators, and school board members throughout the state to educate them on this issue and to help everyone be effective advocates. The legislative committee will reach out to the circuit riders and invite them to a committee meeting, and we're working on scheduling that now, and we can see how we can support their efforts if our interests are aligned. The legislative committee is also working to schedule a morning meeting to include all of our local representatives, and more details on that will follow. Our October 28th meeting has been canceled, and our next meeting is November 25th at 8:30 a.m. in the boardroom.
Thank you very much, Dr. O'Leary. Do you have a communications report?
No, I don't have a report. I provided it last meeting.
Okay. Ms. Pollard, did you want to talk about the MCIU? As the representative from the board to the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit, we had our monthly meeting on Wednesday, October the 15th, at their location in Norriton, Pennsylvania. The new CEO, Dr. John George, will be officially beginning his duties on Monday, October the 20th, which was this past Monday. And the federal government is offering a $3.4 million grant for a Head Start program to prepare preschool children that are underprivileged for a successful learning experience. And the MCIU is applying for this grant. It will be a 5-year grant. On the 7th, the 7th annual MCIU Fall Social and Silent Auction will be held on Wednesday, November the 5th at 5:30 to 8:30 at the Lower Providence Fire Company Hall, which is located at 3199 Ridge Pike in Eagleville, Pennsylvania. The tickets are $25, and for more information, you can contact Kristen Rawlings or Tina Valletto, and you can get these addresses from our secretary, Ms. LaPera. Thank you very much. Ms. Robinson, did you have something you wanted to say about the Education Foundation?
Yes, please. Thank you. I'm speaking to you as a member of the board of the Education Foundation of Lower Merion. We're having our annual trivia night on November 8th from 7:30 to 10:30 p.m. at the Kinwood Club. Tickets are still available, and you can go to educationfoundationoflm.org and obtain tickets. If you'd like to advertise in the advertise also, there's information about that on the website. And that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you, anyone else? We're good. Okay, at this time, we're going to take audience recognition on any item whatsoever. So if you would like to speak, please come and sign in with Ms. LaPera. Please give us your name and the general area where you live, and you have 3 minutes. Can everyone who wants to speak sign in at once now so that we have an idea of how many people we have? You can come on over now, and thank you very much for sticking with us to the end here. We appreciate it.
I'm sorry for disturbing you a little earlier. I did not realize I have an opportunity at the end here.
It's fine. Thank you again.
My name's Steve Sachs. I live at 282 Trent Road, directly across the street from Penwood Elementary School.
Sir, can you speak more into the microphone? I'm sorry.
Steve
Thank
Sachs,
you.
282 Trent
Thank
Road. I live directly across the street from the elementary school. The fence that you're talking about is a safety issue. To prevent something for the children, I would make a suggestion that could be implemented immediately. And I would say I'm a casual observer, but I've lived there for 20 years. I've seen a lot of cycles. I've seen your kids go to school there, and I know exactly what happens in that schoolyard on a daily basis. The school monitors that are there for safety, they congregate on the far side, on the building side of the schoolyard. Better a visual deterrent of manpower being on that Trent Road side of the playground, and then that distance that you're talking about of that perpetrator needing to cross a certain distance before. So again, move the school monitors to the Trent Road side of the schoolyard. There's an immediate safety concern, I think, that's addressed for a short-term avenue to pursue that. So again, not a casual observer, 20 years. I know exactly what I'm looking at on a daily basis over there. I've seen the kids come and go. I know how they use the property. I know how they access the whole neighborhood. They talked about it before, accessing the property for back to school nights, for 4th of July. There needs to be a little greater access to that property. I get safety. I understand safety. But again, it's beyond the immediate safety of the children. It's a part and a thread and whatever of the community, and the community uses that property. So again, it'll change the whole dynamic of the walkers, of the community, the use of the property. I don't know if people really consider that anything more than just a safety issue. So again, it's a cultural, it's a society, it's our neighborhood. So please give that some thought or consideration.
Thank you again, sir. We appreciate your comments. Is there somebody else I thought I saw? Hi.
Good evening. I'm Hugh Ehrenberg, and I'm a resident of Penn Valley. I have a child in the Belmont Hills school system. I think tonight you've addressed a need for access control towards all of our campuses that has a disparate impact on the Penn campus. And I don't have a dog in the fight because I don't live in that neighborhood. However, the school board has an opportunity to start a trend or stand up for walkability. I'm a new resident to the school district. And one of the things that I spent over 2 years looking for a home in the school district focusing on was walkability. And we were looking for a house with a sidewalk and could not find one. I would gladly invite the construction of a sidewalk in front of my house and on my block. It's not, to my knowledge, feasible because of the way the streets are cut. But around that school, there appears to be an opportunity for the school board to stand up for walkability. The need for access control is undeniable. The aesthetics of that access control may be questionable, and perhaps a visit to other similarly located school districts with an eye towards aesthetics may improve the acceptance of a fence. I'm not sure I would want a chain link fence outside my house. I'm not sure I would want a black chain link fence outside my house. And some of that estate fencing is more pleasing. If we're going to do a fence, don't cheap out and do it right. Do something that might be more fitting with the neighborhood and include a sidewalk, because safety has multiple aspects to it. There are, of course, ways to do sidewalks that save trees. We see trees win the battle between sidewalk and tree all the time. Those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay. At this time, I'd like to say that in accordance with Act 93 of the 1998 Sunshine Law, the Board of School Directors met in executive or information sessions on the following dates and discussed the following issues. October 13th for the Education Committee meeting, Real Estate and Personnel. October 20th, Real Estate and Personnel. Our upcoming meetings include October 22nd, our Communications Committee meeting at 8:30 a.m., November 3rd, our Curriculum Committee meeting at 8:30 a.m., November 7th, Policy Committee meeting at 8:30 a.m., November 10th, Education Committee meeting at 8 p.m., November 13th, Facilities Purchasing Committee meeting at 8:30 a.m., and November 17th, our regular Business Board meeting at 8 p.m., and all of those will be in our usual meeting place in the DAO building. And with that, thank you, everyone. We are adjourned. Good night.